Good morning, United Kingdom. Good morning. Uh, good morning to another week. It is Monday, the 22nd of March. The new year has already started. We're into 2021. There's a lot of change happening. And I think today's topic that we have, which is doubt kills more than failure does. That's right. Doubt kills more than failure does. Very deep question. I think it will apply to everyone who's looking at the new year with a positive sign. So we shouldn't have a doubt about the actual progress of the vaccine and the future. So doubt definitely is not going to be the way forward. The markets want optimism and positivity, and therefore I think the saying has some meaning. Today we have backstage, we have a Miss Raman Kaur Boparia. So we have Raman Kaur Boparia backstage, and she's our first guest today. We also have our one of our regular visitors and guests, which is Ridhika as well. She'll be on in about a few minutes as well. And before we look at the question, is this a question for the week or the question of the day? We've had the question of the day, sorry. That is, doubt kills more dreams than failure does. The question of the week, or the topic of the week, is going to be help people and make money at the same time. That's a unique position to be in, especially if you're doing business. Because business, it by its nature, doesn't help. It's about bottom line. It's about making money. And yes, you can have an element of charity or philanthropy from the monies you make, but there's very few businesses that can profess that they're helping people as they're making money. So we're going to go into that in a bit more detail. We have Raman Kaur, please.
Hi.
Good morning, Raman. How are you? What would you like to do? Is it Raman? Is it
Raman is fine. Thank you.
How would you like to be addressed?
Raman. Raman is great.
Raman. Okay, Raman. How are you doing this morning, Raman?
I'm good. Bright and cheerful. How about you?
Bright and cheerful. That sounds like Yorkshire.
No. London.
Oh, okay. So, that's London. That doesn't sound. That means you're from the north, then. Yes.
Actually, I grew up with cousins who were from Coventry, so.
There you are. I felt there's a tint in your accent there that we picked up. So you were originally okay. Where were you born, Raman?
In England, in London.
No, I mean we know that. I mean, what part of it? What city were you born in?
Dartford.
Chelmsford.
No, Dartford.
Dartford. Eastern girl. You're an East girl, are you?
I am.
Okay, so you're an EastEnders. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're an EastEnders. So you're born in Dartford, and then what happened? What did you do next?
Well, I grew up in nearabouts Dartford and married, and now I'm in Barking, so East London. I guess I didn't move very far.
Okay, so you're an East London girl from the beginning until now.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a little question then? How many years were you in Coventry for?
Oh, I wasn't in Coventry. I have cousins who live there. We're just very close growing up, so I guess the accent rubbed off.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so you didn't rub off the other way around. It rubbed off your way around to them. That's good. Okay, so you've got cousins in Coventry. What part of Coventry do they live in, by the way?
Longford.
Longford, right? Longford, is that where there's a vehicle plant or something, or
Maybe. Or is that, you mean the Vauxhall place?
Longford?
I think it's a little bit outside, but yeah, you're about right. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay. So you lived in Longford, and you sort of like very close with them. So there's it's a lovely accent, by the way. There's nothing wrong. It's a lovely accent. It's a
Thanks.
lovely mix of the East. Well, I can't hardly hear your East End, to be honest with you. You haven't got the what? You haven't got that in you. You haven't got the twang in you. It's
No.
more. Where did you do your studies, Roman?
So mostly was in Belvedere in Kent, which is also east.
Belvedere, very nice. Okay, so you were in Kent. Okay, so you were still in Kent with your study. And what have you studied? Where did you get to?
I studied the normal, the education system that we do have up to secondary. They went to college.
The normal.
The normal, the flow of life that takes us.
Right.
And then I went to university at Imperial College.
Yeah. Ooh, right. That's it. That's where the well-spoken deliverance comes from. So Imperial College. What were you doing there, Roman?
I was doing business management, business studies. Mm-hmm.
Business.
Sorry?
Sorry about that, Roman. I was just getting interrupted by someone who wanted to give me a bottle of water. Right. Okay. So you got your degree from Imperial College, and it was in business, was it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Was that like something that you actually liked doing, or was it just the first thing that came along, and you were a clever little girl and you decided to do? What did you do in business? What was it? What was the topics?
They were generic. So there was accounting, economics, marketing, basically all the different elements that are needed within a business, whether it's small or large.
So was it a master? Was it a bachelor's in business administration? Was it, or what was it?
Bachelor's in business management. Actually, there was a science to it because it had an element of agriculture in it.
Oh, right. Okay. So
Yeah.
was that on purpose, or did they just throw you into a potato field?
It was more throwing me into a potato field. Actually, it was sheep, but it was interesting, very interesting. I've learned things that I didn't know.
Okay, so was it okay? What was the course? I mean, I'm going into your course and what you've learned, but it's very interesting to know. Okay, so it was a bit of basically agricultural. Was it finance? Was it agricultural technology? What was it?
So it was, because it was a BSc, Bachelor of Science, the agriculture was the science part. So it told us more about the soil, fertilizers, and the farming element of agriculture and how it came into business, which was interesting.
Excellent. Okay, and have you been able to use those skills? Like, have you got a back garden full of grapes and lots of
I'd love to, but I don't. Although my husband does do all those things, and I did pass the knowledge on to him, which was great. But I always check. I can always check whether a soil is fertile enough to grow certain foods.
Wow! Right. Okay, so you're probably hot property, aren't you? Somewhere in the farming world, are you?
I'm not. I actually, when I did my degree, I found the accounts part quite compelling. I quite liked it. I was very interested in it, and I loved how you can take the pulse of a business with the numbers that are on the sheets, the spreadsheets, and
okay, that takes a bit of, that definitely does take a bit of experience to know where monies are deployed in a business, because it depends on the nature of the business.
Yeah.
So how do you? So have you are you into property now? Are you a property person? Are you merely a social mediaite? What are you?
So I am a ACCA fully qualified accountant.
Wow, very
And
humble, very humble, I would say, because I mean most people will come in with that straight away. So are you doing your own accounts? Are you working for a company?
so
Have
I
you
have
your own firm?
I have my own practice.
Excellent.
Yeah, I also have my own property company as well. So
Wow.
I understand how it works, and it's good to
Wow.
understand people as they are and their business, and then come into accountancy, because that then helps you, because accountancy is a support function, and you can't support people unless you understand business.
Wow. Okay, that's really unique. Because most people don't really put, I mean, people who are good at numbers, especially accountants, they don't put the human element into the numbers. So, is this something natural from you, Raman,
Yeah.
or is it something that you were you mentored by somebody who had that knowledge?
It's actually been a natural path, a natural progression from sort of one element to another. So it's, and I have a spiritual flair as well. So I think it's important. You can't take human beings or our nature, or who we are, out of numbers, especially with something that's so personal as in, your business. That's something that has come out, like you were saying before, a dream that has come out and is now on paper. So you can't, it's not just numbers.
Excellent. Okay, you're actually quite fascinating young lady. I mean, and I think we could go into that topic for hours and hours, and I still want to learn more. But sadly, we have the topic or the underlying topic for the week:
Yes.
learn or help people, which comes back to your spiritual side. Help people and make money at the same time. That's quite unique as a topic, because it's the nature of business as is known to the majority. It is it's a numbers game. It's a it's more of a bottom line thing. But to say that you're helping people and making money at the same time is a bit like trying to mix oil with water in the world that we know, obviously. So, what say you to that saying? Is it possible to help people and make money at the same time?
Yes, absolutely. And being in a support function, I can not only say that is correct, but I can actually say that with experience, because being able to do that, not just from a finance point of view or as an accountant, which is a fantastic support function for a business who really wants to grow, or a person, an individual who really wants to grow, but it's necessary also because people invest in you as a person. So if they know that you're, the sort of personality who really does have their best interest at heart, then you're automatically going to make money. It's not,
Wow.
it's a
Very
given.
deep. Now, how old are you? I don't like to ask ladies, but say,
Okay.
where are you? Are you under the 30, or are
Oh,
you?
that's very nice of you. I'm over 40.
Okay, say the 40. That's a number. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean anything to me. What
Oh,
I
yeah.
look at is people's heart, and I look at the energy, and the energy is very positive, very in energy terms, you're about 16, maybe
That's
20.
lovely.
So that's the way I look at you from your energy. Right.
Thanks.
Okay, Roman,
Mm-hmm.
you've got you got a lovely personality. You have a very deep understanding of numbers. And numbers aren't just number crunching for you; they reflect something about an individual. They reflect an individual's psychology, the way they operate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So I assume, have you done a psychology course? Have you done anything on the psychology, or you say there's a spiritual element to you? What's it? Let's work out first. What's a spiritual element?
So I haven't done a psychology course, but psychology does interest me. Although it's more about spirituality for me. I think I'm into meditation, and I was from a very young age. So I read
Yeah.
all about your subconscious mind and self-hypnosis, which is interesting because you are right in saying that doubt does kill a lot of dreams. It's true. And being able to not trick yourself, but being able to manage your own expectations and come through successfully is really important. So I love tools. Yeah.
Okay, so you've been interested in that a long time. That's what I think that's what transmits in your conversation, in your energies. Let's suppose you talk about the positive. You talk about doubt being a killer. It's probably a bigger killer than anything else. If you doubt yourself, you doubt what you're going for. And I'm not going to put it into relative terms for the environment in the economy at the moment. We're not going to throw it into that yet. We're going to do that later on. Is there a negative force that makes you doubt then? Or is it just your own weaknesses that makes you doubt?
Well, we live in a world that is full of duality. You cannot have one without the other. It's not possible. So both will be there. You will have doubt because we're human and we experience both emotions. But positive thinking or positive outlook doesn't mean that you don't doubt. It means that you can still overcome that doubt by understanding what your strengths are. And if you are weak in certain areas, then understanding who you can collaborate with to get to the point you need to get to. So it's overcoming that and understanding that you can still have a positive outlook on life.
Yeah, but the question I've asked is slightly different. I'm asking you: is there actually is there a Darth Vader? Is there a negative force?
Yes, there is.
There is. How do you see it then? How do you perceive it in number terms or in the understanding of, spirituality? And how do you perceive what is it? Is it just yourself just thinking wrong? Is there an external force that's making you think negative and doubting yourself?
So
is it external? Okay, let's keep it even simple. Is it external or is it all internal?
So it's both. It's both. It's the same as saying your negativity can be on the inside, the same as your positivity is, both of them. But they're also available outside, like magnets. So if you're in a negative place, you will attract that negativity from the outside. I mean, that's science. Like, I can go into this, but as in particles.
No, it's interesting. I actually want you to go into. So, like a magnet. If I'm negative, and if I put a negative side of a magnet near me, it's going to repel. It's not going to attract me.
Right. So, I mean, it's going to repel your positivity, as in the things that you want. They're not going to come to you.
Okay. We're going to move because there's lots of stuff that I can talk because you got depth of knowledge behind. I think it's really, I could go on for another few hours with you and still ask more questions. Let's try and stick to the topic. So we have doubt being a big killer. So we know that doubt is, it's not a good thing. We should try and learn to overcome it. Second part of it, the question for the week or the underlying topic is help people and make money at the same time. Now, you're an accountant.
Yeah.
So when you help people, can you help people and make money, or do you need money to start the help? That's the question.
You do need money to start the help because unless you put yourself in such a positive attraction format that you attract the help towards you and you don't need that money. But generally, on the onset, we do need depending on what your venture is, a small amount of money in order to help others. But then what goes round comes round too. When you help others, you receive that help too.
Excellent. Right, I'm going to then go to what we've got. And this topic for this week has come from our RAC model, which is called the Rescue Associates Program. It's an affiliate program. You could call it, I mean, if people don't understand what affiliate programs are or associate programs are, they normally understand it by a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
But the good thing in this is it's not a franchise, so there's no money required. That's the beautiful thing. All you need is things that you already have, like, for example, a telephone. Most people already have a telephone. Ideally a laptop, if not a desktop. Second thing. A list of people that are friends or family or a mix who may be in trouble, who may be in need of support, help. Like you said, if you're positive, you may attract help itself because people want to seek your advice, your comfort, and then a simple, basic understanding of social media to know that if you have a limited circle of people, so for example, you're a bit like me, you've only got 2 friends. I'm one of my own friends and I've got one more. That's it. But that social media allows me to reach out to lots of people who are in need, a bit like the Samaritans, really, but not to do it in a Samaritan way, just purely helping people through psychosis or psychology or trauma of things. But it's more to do with helping people through their business problems, but at the same time also having a balance that there's certain people who have a requirement to grow. There are also people out there who have a requirement to consolidate. So it's not all about the bad stuff, but sometimes it's about joining up, just like you said, the magnet. So the positive and the negative join up, and you actually make money through doing that. And that's the uniqueness of it, that the RAC module does not require you to put any money down, even though there was an original basic members fee, I think, of 2,000 that was waived because of COVID. They said, well, there's going to be so many people in lockdown. Most people are going to be scrambling, or they're going to be finding it difficult, to pay the basic fees. So obviously, level of membership relates to the commissions paid, but in essence, you are giving people a chance to help people and make money at the same time. So the question is going to be, where does the money come from? Well, the money comes from the solution or the provision of the solution. So in certain cases where people have a legal problem, maybe they are stuck with a bank, because there's lots of foreclosures going on now. You're an accountant, I'm sure you know about the negative equity trap and the fact that the banks are operating literally at minimum percentages. So as soon as the interest rates go up, there's only going to be one way, and that's up. I don't think there's going to be negative lending. They were talking about it, but I don't think it's going to be a reality. Not since Biden's come in and the American economy will now start recovering, which will automatically mean the switching on of the interest rate. And we all know the saying that America sneezes and the rest of the world catches a cold, because they do hold the fundamentals of the international exchange rates and the interest rates, etc., etc. So, for anybody who's not actually gone into the RAC model to see what that's about, we do encourage, and you more than anybody else, because of your energies, Raman, if you get a chance to go into Rescue My Properties, the website, and there is a RAC members module there that allows people to go in and become a member basically for free. So the basic membership has been waived of £2,000. So technically anybody with a computer, the telephone, access to internet, and has a knowledge of social media, ideally should have knowledge of social media. It's not mandatory. They could just make, start off with a basic income just by helping people, referring people, looking at people's problems, and most of all the problems all revolve around property. So you said you're in property, Raman. Are you finding are you doing property accounts?
I am, yes.
Yeah. No? Are we frozen? You're not there?
No, I'm here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So do you do property accounts, do you?
Yes, I do. Yep, I do.
Mr. Rana, are you frozen?
No, I
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Put your hands up.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, Roman, can you hear me?
Yes.
Are we frozen? Roman, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I think we're breaking up a bit. Is it your internet or is it our internet?
Mine should
Okay, we're back on track. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I assume you do accounts for property portfolios and stuff. Is that right?
Yes, I do.
Right. So are you finding, even though the interest rates are low and people are making, slightly better cash flows from their property portfolios, with the local changes in taxation rules, etc., I'm sure you've probably come across a lot of people trying to transfer from being a sole proprietor or an owner of properties into limited structures and to LLPs. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so apart from that, do you find lots of people who have got legal issues or LPA matters, Law Property Act receivers being appointed, people becoming defaulted in their mortgage terms because of, I don't know, arrears or because the mortgage term has come to an end? Is that being seen by you as an accountant?
At the moment, because I guess the market is artificially kept afloat by the government and handouts and loans and holiday mortgages, I haven't seen enough of that yet. But you can see where it's about to start. You can see the companies that are in danger. You can see the sole proprietors who, will lose out on, certain properties and everything. You can see it. Like I said, it's like the finger on the pulse. You can see what's about to happen. And
Wow. So okay, Roman, you're actually, I think I've had a conversation with some people from the top 4, and they've actually said that they are gearing up for maximum insolvencies. That's hot off the press. So I assume it's going to come like a tsunami, isn't it, a bit? Because after the lockdown, after the furloughs finish and there's free money, I assume, is this money come from quantitative easing, or how is it being distributed? Is it actual money or is it just being printed?
Well, I don't think it's actual money. I think it's printed because there's no other way that they can do this. So it's printed.
What does your insight say about looking at numbers and energies and all that? Do you see that there is positive optimism in the property market per se, or do you find there's going to be a bit of a tsunami?
There will be a bit of a tsunami because
Not to understand, the tsunami is a bit of a tsunami is a bit of like a double negative, isn't it? Tsunami and a bit. But yes.
Yes.
Bit of a tsunami. Yes, go on.
Yeah, I mean, it will be. It depends, because people who are, or companies, individuals who are financially secure, it will not be a tsunami for them. They will just suffer small losses because they'll be secure. But for others who are on debt, yeah, it will be a tsunami for sure for them.
Okay,
Which is
that's a bit like a statement from the Chancellor of Exchequer. So it's quite obvious. Anybody financially secure, they'll be all right. Anybody else, you're gonna have a tsunami. So what's the average then? Okay, let's ask the question in that way from a technical expert like yourself. How many people on average are financially secure? When you say financially secure, what does that mean?
as in no debts, I would say. It's
okay. And do you see that being a reality? I mean, aren't most people the remnants of the 2000, money is more expensive than, money is cheaper than water type of environment. And as long as you've got a pulse, I'll get you a mortgage and I'll also put tenants in there and give you a lovely little cash back. Are they still the remnants of that 2000 wave, after the 2007-9 crash with NRAM? Are we not just going now for the second wave, which is more of the mid net worth and high net worth people who had a bit more than a few houses, or people who had already seen money before, who were used to recessions, who somehow had a few eggs to save, or they were clever enough to do a bit of jiggery pokery and protect themselves? Is it not going to be that those people now are going to be the ones getting hit?
I think possibly, yes. You've got a good insight there from the crash earlier on. Yes, that is true. But then I think there are perhaps a small number of people who have learned from that, and perhaps they won't feel it. But there will be those that do, because they do consider that debt is still cheaper than equity. And that's,
wow. So what's the percentage then, Roman? What do you say is the percentage?
I'd say 70% are going to feel it.
How much?
70%.
70. You can feel it. I like that.
As in see it and feel it and educated guess it.
70% in terms of 70% tsunami, 30% fortified house, or the other way around? 30% tsunami and 70% good.
So what you said first, the former.
All right. Okay, so that's quite difficult, isn't it? Okay, now let's take that saying in context and help people and make money. Can you see the potentials in that business then? People out there who are sitting, frightened, afraid to open we're talking about grown men, afraid to open the front door because of a notice or a bailiff's letter or something. Can you imagine the psychology behind these people, and just giving them a friendly handout, holding a handout to them, telling them, look, there is light at the end of this tunnel. I've come across, this is quite a sad story. I've come across a builder who was doing perfectly fine in his building contracting business, and for some reason, just like everybody else, he decided to get into property. Property was, easy. They were throwing credit at him. So I think he purchased around 15 properties. He was stuck, and tears came from his eyes, because he said, look, I think he had 4 daughters or 3 daughters. And he was saying, I don't know how I'm going to be able to, afford and give them the life that I'm supposed to be giving them, etc., etc. I remember this wasn't a person from the Asian culture. This was a person who was more generic and indigenous. from the point of view was he wasn't an East Ender, I think he was a West Ender.
Right.
Right, good excuse. They are going to call telling me that Lakhi Singh's turned up, the hero, the Lakhi Singh property fixer. He's the one that everybody wants to come and appear for. They're all infatuated by him. A bit of a Calvin Klein. He's like the Steven Seagal of the property world, man who is quite used to fighting off negative forces and trying to help for the good. So before we continue, I think Ridhika is not available yet. She gone? We haven't got Ridhika. We'll still wait for her. We have the infamous, the fixer, the mixer, the dixer, the rixer. Don't want to say anything else because it may come out wrong. He is himself the lion of the square mile. He is the Sheru, a gentleman who often is seen marking his territory in the city of Mayfair, Westminster. Lakhi Singh, can we have you on, please? We're all anxious and waiting for you. Hello, is he there? Has he come on?
How you doing? You okay?
Yes, good morning, Mr. Singh. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
The property fixer, the business and property fixer. We have the lovely Roman, and actually, I am I'm finding you a bit of a deflation after speaking to Roman. So I don't know how to bring myself or bring you in to meet the standard that we've set this morning. Lovely lady. She runs her own firm, accountancy practice, and she's got quite a good insight into what's happening. We were just talking about the RAC model, Lakhi Singh, and the rareness in the model that it actually helps people who've got associated problems with property or finance or legal issues. And yes, there is money to be made, but the money is not to be made off anybody else's miseries. It's made in an attempt, and I choose my words very carefully, in an attempt to get people out of their psychosis. Because we were talking about this gentleman who has, I think, 3 girls, being very emotional, finding himself in a quagmire where he is now stuck with a property portfolio that's got about, I think, $500,000 or $250,000 negative equity. Very dismaying. It's impossible. It's very difficult when you invested money into properties, and all the monies you put in, they've been lost. And remember that the worst bit about it is not due to any fault of the individual. This gentleman happened to put in about, I think, $250,000 over 2 years into his properties, in maintaining them and improving them and keeping them in a good standard for his tenants. What do you say to that, Roman? How does that make you feel? And how do you feel that, the person of that position, how would you look to help them?
Well, first, I mean, it's a sad situation. It's like the tsunami we were talking about. That would be a definition of a tsunami, definitely. To begin with, I think that person would be broken in so many ways, mentally, emotionally, inside.
Yes.
We might look fine, but I think the first element of support is ensuring their mental health. That's
wow.
First.
Now that's coming from an accountant, Lakhi Singh. Can you understand why I've virtually fallen in love with this young lady? Mental health first. Okay, Lakhi, what do you say? I'm going to break down her answers into bits because this is like an insight from an accountant. And she's probably, well, she's got a spiritual side to her. She's probably wise. So, Lakhi, what do you say to that? Somebody who has a negative property portfolio, no way out, a bit like that movie, Kevin Costner movie that you were in a long time ago. No way out. So, the mental health, how do you propose that the RAC, how does the RAC model assist someone in a mental condition?
It's quite simple. We've got a lot of associates that are members. So the idea is that we help people and we help them to make money. But the first thing is we help people. So they're likely to be speaking to somebody who's going to be empathetic, they'll want to listen to them. And all they've got to do is refer that person to our organization because we've got the back office and the support to take them through their journey to assist them. So they don't have to worry about to be honest, finances are easy. It's just the human, the person that's actually the one that usually creates a problem or has the issues. If they're not quite right, their whole portfolio or their whole business is going to be suffering because of their let's say capability. And if they're not capable, then it's going to be disastrous potentially.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes.
Yep. So basically, I think it's simple as that. So
okay, let me get the answer from you as it is. Let's see if Roman understands it or has any questions further. So Roman, it's got a networking angle to it. So it's, like we said, if you don't have a large database of contacts and people who are in, property or have some form of a legal problem or a financial problem, you can use social media to reach out to people. Now, it relies upon the people reaching out to also have an element of empathy in them, because they probably either have some property problems of their own or gone through serious issues of their own in debt. So they will understand where that individual is from. And you don't need to spend any money because, like I said, social media, telephone, or laptop. You don't need to be spending any money on a calling card or opening up an office. I mean, yourself being a chartered accountant, I think you probably find it. Have you got an office or you work from home, do you?
I work from home at present.
Right. So do you see most of your clients on site? Do you go to their offices or their residence? How do you meet them?
Yeah, I go to their offices or sometimes at the moment, Zoom is a great medium.
Excellent. So it works on the same, I think, the principle. You don't need to spend a lot of money to getting set up. So you're trying to cover back your capital. You're actually in business as long as you've got internet, and as long as you've got a telephone, and as long as you've got a database, and you know how to use social media. And if you don't know, let's put the worst case scenario in. You don't know how to use social media. There's plenty of information out there on the information highway to teach people how to start using social media. Let's suppose you don't want to use social media. You don't have a Facebook account, or you don't want to open up these things because you just don't trust it. Let's suppose making a call should be easy. Let's say it's even worse than that. You don't know how to talk to people. Just by taking a friend or a family member that's in trouble and passing their details on, that's all you need to do if you're an RAC. It's as simple as that. Obviously, are there any regulations, Lakhi, that are required? Do you have to have something to be able to pass on the details of a friend or family or person in problems?
Well, the only one single cost that's there is you have to have an ICO license, Information Commission Office, for data protection. So if you are passing data or getting data, then you're registered to be able to do it. That's the only way we can collect data. So that's probably the only prerequisite. But we obviously are, the membership fee is normally £2,000, but during the lockdown, we've waived it altogether. So technically at this very moment, the only cost is £40 for an ICO license.
Wow. Okay. Roman, because Roman's got a spiritual insight to numbers as well. And a question I wanted to raise with Roman that I never got to do earlier on, and I think we're getting to that, is from a numbers point of view, from a spiritual feeling of numbers. She's already answered. She says 70-30. Just 70% are going to be caught in the tsunami, 30% will be financially sound, may be able to ride the storm. People who haven't really taken out lots of large debt across their property portfolios in an attempt to buy more properties, people who probably were quite happy with what they had, or were only buying with cash that they had, or had surplus cash from their businesses and they were putting them into assets as an additional revenue stream. So, Roman, tell me, in this environment, the scenario we've got now, even though they've got stamp duty mitigation, they're waiving stamp duty for a while, what do you see as the immediate future in 21 in the property market? Because you're also a property portfolio landlady, I would say, because I don't know whether it's jointly owned by your husband, but I'll say landlady, and you can fill in the blanks. Are you a landlady, or are you a land of people, or landlady and lord? What are you?
Landlady and lord.
Excellent. So what do you see as the immediate sort of pit stop? What's going to be the next main thing? Is it going to be interest rate hike? Is it going to be something new that comes along after we've got the third wave of the virus, I think, as well? Is that right, Roman?
Yeah.
What do you think is going to be the main pit stop for the interest rates to come up, and the effect of that to hit everybody?
Well, it's going to be once all the artificial help has stopped. So we're talking the furlough, the loans, the stamp duty holiday. Once all that has stopped, and basically we want the economy to recover, that's when we're going to feel this. And that's interest rates they're going to go up. There's no other way. It has to go up. Yeah. There is no beating about the bush. It has to be faced head on.
Do you see it spiritually, Roman, or do you see it mathematically?
Both, because I don't think you can separate one thing from the other. How can you?
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you being a person, you are a spirit, right? You can't say it's in everything you do. So numbers and spirituality, or life, everything, even your educated best guess, you cannot separate. You can't have pure objectivity because it doesn't exist. It's always an amalgamation of everything that you're helping others through.
Wow. Okay, before we continue, I'm going to give a shout out to Mandy, I think. Is it Mandy? Is it and they've joined us, and a good big shout out to you girls. Right, okay, I'm just going to ask you a question, Roman. Very deep. Do you think there is a negative force in that which is going to happen now? Is it a positive force? Can you see positivity in what's going to happen, or is it going to be a negative position?
It's going to be a big negative position. I mean, it depends on what side of debt you're looking at, to be honest, what side of debt you're standing in your life. If you have debt, then it's likely to be that, it's going to be the negative force that's going to hit. On the majority, on the whole, it will be negative. But because we have both forces at play, there will always be something good that comes out of something bad. The rest is your perception and how you deal with it and how you come out of it. And that's the main thing.
Excellent. So this goes into what we were talking about in the RAC model, that it's not only about people who need help, it's actually taking from the people who can provide help and matching people up.
Okay.
So effectively trying to offload. Now, there's something unique. I'm going to go over to Lakhi Singh, because there's something unique. There's a question I'm going to ask. In property debt, Roman, or in negative debt, do you see a formula or a way out for people? Is there a way out of negative debt? I.e., you've sold a property, you owe the bank 50,000. Remember, the average amount that has been calculated across the country for the negative debt market per property is around 50 to 75,000. So if you've got a portfolio of 10 properties, you're talking about $500,000 to $250,000, a lot of money, just with 10 properties. How do you see that? Is there a solution for that? Can you get out of that?
Is that to me? Sorry, is that to Lakhi?
Yeah, that's to you, Roman.
To
Yeah,
me.
you're the, yeah. Do you see a way out? Is there some way of dealing with negative debt with the banks? Is there a solution?
Yes, there is. The bank will say you owe us, this much, and this is going to happen, whatever their procedure is, depending on the bank or the financial institute that you owe money to. After that, but you have to understand that they're human beings too. They will ask you how much you can pay back. What do you have? So at the end of the day, I mean, that's what my game is on it. But
okay, that is what we've been told. Now we're going to go over to the expert, Mr. Singh, who's got something special up his sleeve. I think something quite unique, something quite different. Lakhi Singh, please tell us: is there a way out of negative debt apart from what Roman's talking about? Because that's standard format. Going to an IVA, declare bankruptcy, try and negotiate. And have you tried to negotiate negative debt for your clients, sir?
The answer to the question is that I'm going to do Simon Cowell here. The answer is no, it's not possible.
On mute.
The answer is that it's not possible. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we're waiting.
This is a Simon Cowell. I'm saying it's not possible for 99.9% of the UK population to do it. But if you're talking to our organization, then yes, we do have a multiple of solutions to be able to solve the problem. Because we've been solving the problem during the good times, and now when the bad times will be coming, we're going to be able to do it en masse and be able to scale up. So that's the opening statement. And how we do it is very simple. But we are the only people with the intellectual property to be able to do it, because nobody's really.
Okay, hold on, Lakhi Singh, I'm getting hairs on my back of my neck. What do you mean by that? We're the only people. What does that mean?
So this solution is exclusive to us because we've been getting barrister opinion, talking to the banks, and structuring this for the last 15 years. So while most people have been selling the dream, we've been looking at how do we solve the problem of the fallout potentially that could be in the market, because our perception from about 10 years ago is that there will be a bit of a tsunami in the market at some stage. It's just a matter of time. Based on that premise, we basically got a solution now where client's got, let's just say, 20 properties, they're in negative equity. Obviously, the number one fundamental solution which you look at is what Raman just mentioned, is that you first see if they've got anything that they can pay back with. But obviously, if they haven't, we're only looking at people with this situation where they can't. And then what we do is we do an assessment. They pay for the assessment, and if they qualify, and then there's a more than a 95% chance or 100% chance that we have to write off all the negative equity debt down to zero. That's right, zero. And from the
hold on, if you write off the negative. So do they get to keep their properties and you're writing off the debt? How are you doing that? What does that mean? That's great.
So basically, they'll go into a 3 to 6 month CVA, which is a
CVA. It's only people who've got companies. Is that what you're saying?
So sort of what it's a sort of voluntary arrangement. Sorry, IVA.
A CVA is a corporate voluntary arrangement.
So it could be a CVA or an IVA.
Right? Pardon?
It could be a CVA or an IVA.
Okay, it could be an IVA. Excellent.
Yeah, put them into that position, and we would then negotiate the debt out with the banks, and then they will no longer have those debts or the properties to deal with. And we would also,
because if you negotiate the debt, so if I'm not wrong, I think Roman will put us wise. Roman, is it not true that on fixed charge debt, the bank can chase the debtor up until about 12 years? Is that not the case?
That is correct, yeah.
So how are you writing off the debt, Lakhi? That doesn't make sense.
I find this very interesting too.
Yeah, come on. What do you mean write off the debt?
So basically,
you're doing the
we
client?
would negotiate with the bank a settlement, and we will then also be able to get the client a deed of settlement. That makes sense.
Okay, so now you're coming out with a new word, a deed of settlement. Now that puts a bit more meat on. Have you heard of something called a deed of settlement, Roman?
I have, but not in so many words. I'm sure Lakhi seems to be an expert here and an innovator. So I'd like to
expert, right? Okay, Lakhi Singh, come back on us, please. A deed of settlement.
So, deed of settlement is
what is that? Is that something different?
Legal document from the court, so to speak, which confirms that you have no debts, so you now can start off with a clean credit report. And
wow. Okay,
so
let me say, you got no
breakthrough. That's a fundamental breakthrough in this particular market, because it doesn't really exist as a solution in the market currently. So we'll be rolling this out en masse, and we've already got it available, and we're now
looking. I'm going to have another show, because you came in slightly late. I was told that one of the wings on your propellers fell off or something, and you were trying to get them stuck back on, or what? I don't know why you turned up late, but I'm gonna want Roman back because of her energy. Roman, can we have you on again, please?
Of course.
I'm gonna put a pause button on that. Deed of settlement. That's quite unique. And you're saying it's a new formula, but obviously a deed of settlement was already known to Roman. I don't understand what you're saying, Lakhi, and I want details, because this is groundbreaking. Somebody who's proposing that they can write off the debt. Is it a write-off? How do you get the deed of settlement? Can somebody else get it? Can I get one? Can I get that deed? A deed of trust? What is it? We're going to find out next. It's the last minute. Can we kindly have, Roman, your kind word? And I do want you back on. We have another live drive time I think we're going to have one either on Friday or Wednesday. Is it possible, Raman, for you to come back on?
Yes, absolutely.
I love you to come back on again because I love your energy. And I think there's a depth of knowledge there that we're going to trap into, try and work out what Lakhi Singh's trying to get now. I'm just in shock. I'm a bit taken aback, that's what I would say. Right. Your last words, Raman, for today. Doubt is worse than failure. Is that correct?
Yes.
Excellent. And do you find that the uniqueness of helping people and making money, is that a unique proposition? Or do you say that's quite normal for you in your daily existence because you are a bit of a spiritual accountant?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's normal. And I think it can be for everyone.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Could be a rewrite of the world and the way that we operate, maybe. We're going to talk about that next time, Raman. I'm going to ask you to come back on again. Lakhi Singh, could we have your words of wisdom now that you have shocked us all? I have lost my socks. I have goosebumps, and I have the hairs on the back of my head, which are very little, but they are there, and they stand up. Tell us, Lakhi, your last words before we say goodbye.
Well, I think definitely there's going to be a major adjustment in the market, and I think everybody's got to get real. And the more people that are now stuck, who are now looking for an income, we've devised a complete solution where you could, if you're an accountant, if you're a professional in any field, you could be also helping people using our solutions. So this could be ideal for anybody that's got a strong network, to be helping people with negative equity, to helping people with the finance, to helping people with any type of litigation issue or stopping repossession. So, we're basically happy to help, and our doors are going to be opening to help scale up and save many people from turbulent times.
Thank you so much, sir. Love you. And again, thank you so much. Lakhi Singh, the property fixer and the alternative business and property solutions community. We'll see you again, Robert. Love to have you back on.
Thank you.
Take care.